Aeschylus was born in ancient Greece during the 6th and 5th centuries before the Common Era. His plays are the oldest surviving, and some of the most influential and most commendable ever written. Although a discussion of his style and philosophical messages is saved for the conclusion of the series, on this video you may learn about one of the plays that are attributed to him, Aeschylus the Seven Against Thebes. This is the third play of a tetralogy accounting the story of Oedipus. The first of the plays was named after his father, Laius, the second after the man himself. Lastly, the current play, The Seven Against Thebes. There was also a so-called satyr-drama titled The Sphinx. Unfortunately, none, or near to none, of any of those satyr-dramas survive. Very little is known about them. The play begins with Eteocles, one of the two sons of Oedipus, speaking before a crowd of Thebans, the chorus. It is clear that he is now the king, and he attempts to muster patriotic courage into the people in defense of the city. I should mention that, in the myth of Oedipus, at least the version that Aeschylus is using, the two sons of Oedipus decided to rule jointly. However, they are not to do so simultaneously, rather they agree to alternate between one-year terms. Thus, it happens that the first to rule, Eteocles, decides not to give up power once his first term expires. I must make clear that they decided the order by way of random selection. Yes, do not let Eteocles' treachery debase the immense value of random selection. O random selection, how you have been forgotten. In that sense, there no longer is a Western world. Either way, back to the story, the two brothers go to war. This is the point of the myth where this play takes place. Meaning, it would be clear to the audience that Eteocles is inspiring his people to fight his own brother's bid for power. He makes various references to the divinities or the gods as emblematic or representative of their society, their collective heritage, their identity. I found that these references to the gods are a major theme of the play. For the time being, I will merely mention that his speech was a curious mixture of clan or nationalistic identity with religion. I mean curious in reference to the current Western world, especially as both those things, especially their mixture, is nowadays considered, at least by me, akin to barbarism. The crowd leaves and a messenger arrives as he tells Eteocles about the incoming foes.
There were 7 men, fierce regiment commanders. They cut bulls' throats into an iron-rimmed shield, and with hands touched the bull's blood, taking their oaths by Ares and Io, and by the bloodthirsty god of terror, either to smash and lay your city level with the ground sacked, or by their death to make a bloody paste of this same soil of yours.
I do not know why it is 7. Be it as it may be, there are also 7 gates to the city. Thus, the messenger counsels or implores the king to set 7 heroes, each at one gate, to fight the 7 monsters. Needless to mention, it is a very suspenseful build-up. As I read it, I could not avoid imagining a possible modern-day movie. Eteocles exits and a chorus of fearful, panic-stricken women enter. These vent their fears in songverse. I will quote a few representative lines.
I see a cloud of dust sky-high and am convinced, a messenger clear and truthful though voiceless. Do you hear or do you not the rattle of shields? When, if not now, shall we hang robes and garlands on your statues, supplicating? O powerful battle-loving daughter of Zeus, save our city palace.
The women beckon aid to many deities, not merely Athena. Eteocles returns and he scolds their cowardice, curiously enough, in particular their slavish supplication to the gods. Here, he begins by saying,
You insupportable creatures, I ask you, is this the best? Is this for the city's safety? Is this enheartening for our beleaguered army? To have you falling at the images of the city's gods crying and howling, an object of hatred for all people with sense? For protection pray that our towers hold off the enemy's spears, that shall be as the gods dispose, but the god, they say, of a captured town desert it.
Needless to mention, this is more civilized. I do wonder, how was this interpreted or viewed at the time? I guess if soon enough the Athenians could laud and prize the likes of Aristophanes, this would not have been seen in a controversial fashion. The chorus does argue against Eteocles, and this one ends up explaining he does not censure honoring and worshipping the gods. He merely wishes the women not to spread fear about the city. It is perhaps useful to know that historically the Athenians had recently passed through a great social fright. Much as the Thebans in the play, they recently had to fear the attacks of the Persian Empire, and some panicked as people do in such fearful moments. Funny enough, at some point, Eteocles says two lines that could easily be interpreted as sexist, derogatory towards women. To make matters worse, there is an aphorism laden within them. Of course, I would hate to insult womankind, but how about?
To the sexist, women may only be arrogant about their humility.
Returning to the play, a messenger arrives with news of the enemy's plans. What ensues is an entertaining enough sequential exchange wherein the messenger describes the foes. He mentions a bit about each's origin, physical peculiarities, special abilities, and armor. At each case, Eteocles responds by describing which hero he will pit against the previously described foe. I could not describe these exchanges in detail. Let's skip to the one that I found the most peculiar or noteworthy. First, let me mention that they each have a name. This whole thing is akin to modern-day superhero epics, though much better, of course. Also, each is attacking one of the 7 gates of the city. Again, I do not know why 7. Lastly, they are each chosen for their task, their gate, by lot, by random selection. Oh, woe be to modern man. No random selection. Okay, at the 6th monster the messenger starts with.
A 6th I'll tell you of, a most modest man greatest in might of battle, yet a prophet, strong Amphiorus at the Homoloian gates.
After mentioning many things about this warrior, the messenger describes his special ability.
He is best not at seeming to be such but being so. Deep indeed is the furrow of his mind from which he gathers fruit, and good the counsels that do spring from it. For him send out, I recommend, wise and good challengers, for he is dangerous who reveres the gods.
Eteocles responds to this with,
Alas, the luck which among human beings can join an honest man with impious ones. In every enterprise is no greater evil than bad companionship.
Eteocles then describes and lauds the hero he has chosen against this enemy. Allow me to merely mention that somehow I harvested around 5 possible aphorisms from this entire passage. Consider.
Humanity's malady, what fools call intellect, is naught but ability motivated by emotion.
Either way, the messenger then reveals that the 7th enemy is none other than Eteocles' own brother, Polynices. The audience is reminded by the messenger's remarks that Eteocles cheated his brother. That having been said, there does not appear to be any denouncement of Eteocles' immorality. Meaning, neither are the hero, neither therefore is truly the villain. Either way, without hesitation, Eteocles declares that he, himself, will meet his brother in martial combat. Further remarks ensue, by all characters, including the chorus of women, wherein the audience is reminded of the myth of Oedipus, at least the version Aeschylus is working with. These are the only things anyone knows about what other things happened in this tetralogy. They mention the fact that Oedipus kills his own father, wedded his own mother, and liberated the city from the man-snatching Sphinx. There is also a mention of Oedipus' curse towards his sons, that lust for power will divide them, and they will kill each other. On this point, the chorus of women plead to Eteocles not to fight, not to go to the 7th gate, not to self-fulfill the prophecy. However, Eteocles refuses and leaves the scene. Both choruses, the male and female, have an interchange as they preoccupy for the fate of the city and discuss the horrors that a conquered people must suffer. After the chorus sings, the messenger arrives declaring that the city is saved from the invading 7 monsters. The chorus rejoices until they hear the news that as prophesied the 2 brothers have killed each other, neither lives. The chorus sings a lamentation that is simply one of the greatest passages of poetry ever penned by any human. Then, the part that allegedly most analysts believe is not part of the original work ensues. A new character, a herald, announces that it has been decreed that Eteocles died valiantly and must be mourned and honored with proper burial. However, the brother, Polynices, has been declared an impious traitor, and he may not be buried. I forgot to mention, Both of the bodies have been brought into the stage as the chorus sings its lamentations. Antigone also appears in the scene. Neither her nor her sister, Ismene, are considered to have been in the original play. In response to the herald's words, Antigone proclaims,
"But I to those Cadmean magistrates declare, if no one else will dare to join me in burying him, yet will I bury him and take the danger on my head alone when that is done. His tomb and burying place I will contrive though but a woman. In the bosom folds of my linen robe I shall carry earth to him."
Needless to mention, if the body is not buried or burned, then wild dogs and birds will tear and ingloriously devour it. It is believed that this ending was added at some point by someone so that it would match with Sophocles' play. Why it would be important that it matches at all? In Sophocles' play, the new king of Thebes, a certain Creon, forbids the burying of Polynices, and in response, Antigone courageously defies the king. The only other thing to comment or insist on is the curious and perhaps controversial cultural dispute between Eteocles, the at least partial hero, and the chorus of women. It appears to me a rather avant-garde section for the time. It is ever daring to criticize any kind of religious attitude, but perhaps not so much at that time in ancient Athens. On this channel, you may watch videos outlining all of Aeschylus' plays. That includes the plays of eternal renown such as Prometheus Bound, or the trilogy on Agamemnon, Clytemnestra, and Orestes. Now, to pique your curiosity, to motivate you to watch the last video of the series, I gift you a teaser sample of one of the many aphorisms I crafted as I read this author.
Alas, woman would be man's best friend, if dog were not more loyal. Religion triumphed because nothing could defeat the confidence given by the belief in divinity's favor.
If you enjoy or gain from my aphorisms, know that I have thousands. I will be writing books with short thematic essays composed out of aphorisms. These essays are profound and intriguing yet easy to read. For very cheap copies, look up Protagoras Pause in the Amazon website. I repeat, Protagoras Pause, that's my name.